Well, I don't think they're going to push back too much. Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders are very good people, but they don't even go there. And, you know, because the boat went there 500 years ago and then left, that doesn't give you title to property.
Bloomberg's chief Europe correspondent Oliver Crook joins me now for more. Ollie, we've just had Trump posting on Truth Social his exchange with the French President Emmanuel Macron. What do we know?
Yeah, Lizzie, I came here prepared to talk about the trade negotiations, but now about 19 minutes ago, Trump has come out on Truth Social and posted what appears to be a text message chain with the French President Emmanuel Macron. This is what it seems Macron has written to the president. Again, all we know is that this is what Trump has posted. It says, from President Macron to President Trump, "My friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland. Let us try to build great things. One, I can set up a G7 meeting after Davos in Paris on Thursday afternoon. I can invite the Ukrainians, the Danish, the Syrians, the Russians in the margins." That's a sort of interesting note there. Two, let us have dinner together in Paris and together on Thursday before you go back to the U.S. Emmanuel. So this appears to be what Emmanuel Macron has written to Donald Trump, to an appeal to basically try to get more conversation and dialogue between the President of the United States and Emmanuel Macron and other G7 allies in the midst of what has been a very sort of chaotic few days here ever since Saturday night, when Trump has effectively announced those 10% tariffs that'll be effective on February the 1st because of Europe's resistance of letting the United States annex Greenland. I do think it's interesting that Macron here is talking openly. I mean, openly. He's talking to the President of the United States. It is now being shared openly to the public about including the Russians at the margins of some of this dialogue potentially on Thursday. So, you know, Lizzie, this is I'd say a very fast evolving story. It's changing very rapidly. Again, what we go into this Davos with is the President of the United States continuously reiterating the need to get Greenland, and now we're seeing potentially, you know, a G7 meeting in Paris that's hosted by Emmanuel Macron on Thursday, and of course there's the emergency EU leaders meeting that'll be on Thursday evening here in Brussels. So we'll see how all this evolves.
So, Ollie, that's the transatlantic relationship. We've also got the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and the French President Emmanuel Macron taking different views on how to approach the Greenland issue. What's likely, or what's looking likely, to be the European response to Trump's threats?
Yeah, we're going to have to wait for Thursday for that European leaders meeting to get that real exchange of views from all of these leaders. I mean, I think what we should say is that from the very beginning, even in the first trade war that we had last year, Emmanuel Macron is one that tends to come out swinging much more than Friedrich Merz. And there's a very obvious reason for that. The German economy is much more dependent on exporting goods to the United States than are the French. Friedrich Merz, basically in the first trade war with the United States, said that we'd rather get a fast deal than the perfect deal, trying to get things rolling, get things over the line. But I think that what will be very interesting, Lizzie, what I'll be watching for on Thursday is what the other countries of the European Union have to say. What does Italy have to say? How do they feel about it? They were not targeted by the tariffs. They sort of had a message of solidarity for the other Europeans. But what about the Eastern European countries? What about Poland? What about the Baltics? They're much more concerned of the United States abandoning the issue of Ukraine than they are potentially on Greenland. So we'll see what that debate sort of unfurls on Thursday here in Brussels.